For precise touches in 60 seconds unlock memories that once seemed lost forever. You recover forgotten names, important dates, and words that were on the tip of your tongue through a somatic sequence that reorganizes your neural networks in less than a minute. The secret is not in the brain, but in 4 specific points on your body that hold the access keys to your own internal library. While you struggle to remember basic information and feel embarrassed at crucial moments, your personal archive remains intact, waiting only for the right touch to be reactivated. Feel your feet touching the ground right now. This is the first doorway into your sleeping memories. From this moment on, you will discover how ancient traditions mapped out exactly where your memories reside, and how modern neuroscience confirms every step of this ancestral sequence that is about to transform your relationship with your own mind. Your body is a living archive where every experience has left invisible marks, and these marks hold the keys to recovering everything you believe you have lost. While you search for memories in the brain, they are quietly vibrating through tissues, muscles, and nerve endings that were never consulted. You carry a complete library written into your flesh, just waiting for the correct access code. This 60-second sequence awakens neural circuits that were in a dormant state, bringing back instant mental clarity and a flow of words you thought were gone forever. This transformation does not take weeks. It happens during the practice itself, as if a light switches on in the dark rooms of your consciousness. Alchemists and hermetic masters mapped these internal roots thousands of years ago, treating the human body as a sacred laboratory of transmutation. They knew that small gestures hold the power to reorganize entire networks of perception and memory. What they called solve, et coagula, meaning to dissolve and reconstitute, works through precise movements that release crystallized tensions and allow blocked information to circulate freely once again. Each movement in this sequence activates a specific network of neural reconnection, turning temporary forgetfulness into immediate access to your own internal reserves of knowledge. You will realize that you never truly lost anything. You simply forgot how to access what has always been available within you, waiting for the touch that brings it back to conscious life. The Hermetic principle of transmutation finds its purest expression in working with the extremities of the body, points where energy condenses and from where it radiates throughout the system. Feet function as neural roots that nourish the canopy of consciousness, establishing a direct link between the physical base and higher-level mental processing. Every pressure on the sole of the foot lights up 200,000 receptors that send direct signals to the cerebellum, the region that coordinates not only physical balance, but also cognitive balance and access to spatial memory. The neck and ears form delicate antennas that receive and transmit vital frequencies for proper brain function. Stephen Porges demonstrated through the polyvagal theory that cervical tension compresses the vagus nerve, keeping the nervous system in a state of chronic alert that blocks higher functions like fluid speech and memory recall. When we release these compressions through specific movements, we restore the tone of the ventral vagus, an internal state of safety where memory and language flow naturally. The tongue emerges as the ultimate alchemical organ, a bridge between the internal world of memory and its external expression through speech. Precise tongue movements stimulate the trigeminal and glossopharyngeal networks, nerves that directly influence the brain areas responsible for verbal processing in the temporal cortex. Each touch against the palate reactivates circuits where names, dates, and words reside, not lost, only waiting for the right stimulus to return to the surface of awareness. The 60-second somatic sequence works by following the natural path of sensory information through your nervous system, from the feet to the top of the head. activating specific neural points that awaken your dormant memory networks. This protocol respects the architecture of the human body, where each touch activates receptors that send direct signals to the brain regions responsible for consolidating and retrieving memories. The first touch starts with the feet because they hold 200,000 plantar mechanoreceptors directly connected to the cerebellum and through it to the hippocampus, a central hub for memory processing. When you stimulate these receptors precisely, you create a cascade of neural reactivation that spreads through the system, unlocking access to information that once seemed lost. Sit comfortably and take off your shoes to establish direct contact between the soles of your feet and the ground. Start by slowly spreading your toes, creating as much space between them as possible, and hold this extension for 5 seconds while noticing each point of contact with the surface. Gently press the entire sole of your foot against the ground, generating a sensation of grounding that you will feel rising up through your legs. This is not a typical physical exercise. Each plantar pressure activates specific neural circuits that communicate directly with your spatial navigation centers and episodic memory. Now move to the second point. Alternate between curling and extending your toes, as if you were trying to grip the floor with them. Repeat this motion for 15 seconds. During this action, keep your attention on the sensation that rises at the base of your skull, the area where the cerebellum processes these plantar signals and translates them into cues of stability and mental clarity. The foot to cerebellum to hippocampus connection forms a direct access path to your internal reserves of knowledge, reactivating circuits that were temporarily unreachable due to accumulated tension in the nervous system. The second touch works directly with the neck, an area where vital information flows between the brainstem and the cortex, often blocked by fascial tension accumulated over the years. Gently place one hand at the base of your skull and perform slow cervical rotations, right, center left, then up, center down, keeping the movement small and your breathing deep during each transition. This gentle mobilization releases compressions that restrict cerebral blood flow and unblocks the vagus nerve, the main communication pathway between the body and the higher mind. As you move your neck, notice how your mental clarity gradually increases, a sign that brain oxygenation is being restored and the parasympathetic nervous system is returning to its optimal function. The third touch activates the ears as neural antennas connected to the vestibular complex, a center that coordinates not only physical balance, but also cognitive balance and attentional stability. Place your fingers on the outer ear and gently pull in all directions, upward, downward, outward, followed by a soft, circular massage across the entire outer surface of the ear. This stimulation modulates auditory filters that process environmental information and directly influence your ability to stay focused during conversations and retrieve specific words when needed. Many people experience an immediate reduction in mental fog after this touch, as the vestibular system sends signals of stability to the cortical areas responsible for fluid language. Throughout this entire process, keep your breathing slow and deep through your nose. Inhale for 4 seconds. Exhale for 6 seconds, creating a rhythm that organizes your autonomic field and facilitates the integration of sensory information being processed. Breath functions as an invisible conductor that coordinates all neural systems, ensuring that each touch produces the maximum impact in reorganizing your memory networks and conscious attention. The fourth touch works with the tongue as the laboratory of verbal transmutation, the area where thoughts are converted into words, and where the neural circuits of semantic memory reside. Gently place the tip of your tongue against the roof of your mouth, just behind your upper teeth, and move it slowly from side to side. applying light pressure for 10 seconds. Then, make circular movements with your tongue, touching different points across the palate, stimulating the trigeminal and glossopharyngeal networks that directly influence verbal processing areas in the temporal cortex. During this lingual activation, many people experience the sudden return of words that were on the tip of the tongue, concrete evidence that lexical access circuits have been unlocked. Complete the sequence by gently pressing the tongue against the roof of your mouth for 15 seconds, creating a final stimulus that integrates all the sensory information processed through the previous 4 touches. This complete somatic sequence reorganizes your neural networks in 60 continuous seconds, creating a state of mental clarity that you can verify immediately through 3 physical signs. First, a subtle warmth rising from your feet to the top of your head, a sign that neural circulation has been restored. Second, breathing that becomes naturally deeper and more relaxed, evidence of parasympathetic activation. Third, words flowing more easily during conversations, proof that access to verbal memory has been unlocked. For people with mobility limitations, arthritis, or other physical conditions, all movements can be adapted. Gentler pressure, smaller range of motion, or pauses between touches when needed. The neural consolidation protocol requires 21 days of morning practice, the time it takes for new synaptic patterns to become permanently established in your nervous system. Perform the sequence preferably upon waking, when the brain is most receptive to neural reorganization, and keep a daily record of your ability to recall names during conversations. By the end of this period, you will have established a direct access path to your internal reserves of knowledge, turning temporary forgetfulness into lasting clarity. Memory does not return by miracle. It returns because you gave your body the precise map to recover what was always available, simply waiting for the right touch to awaken it. Florence had been retired for 2 years when she began to notice that something fundamental was shifting in her mind. At 64 years old, she had always been known in the family as the matriarch who remembered everyone's birthdays, important dates, and family stories with remarkable precision. During meetings of the book club she had led for over a decade, the names of authors and characters would suddenly vanish from her memory at the exact moment she needed them. The shame deepened with each interrupted discussion, each awkward pause as she searched for words that seemed to have evaporated from her vocabulary, making her question whether she was losing the essence of who she had always been. The discovery of the somatic sequence came during one of the most challenging periods of her life, when she was seriously considering withdrawing from social activities to avoid further embarrassment. Florence decided to try the 4 touches for 3 consecutive weeks, practicing every morning before breakfast. By the 2nd week, she began to notice that words were returning naturally during conversations, without the desperate effort that had become her routine. At the end of the 3rd week, during a lively discussion on contemporary literature, Florence realized she was quoting full passages and naming characters without hesitation. The transformation went beyond the cognitive and gave Florence back her natural confidence as a communicator, restoring not only her memory but also the magnetic presence that had defined her personality for decades. She became, once again, the family reference for stories and memories. Realizing she had never lost her abilities, she had only forgotten how to access the internal archive that had always been available. Now that you've seen how the somatic sequence transforms real lives, it is time to seal this experience into your own body through 3 physical anchors that ensure permanent access to the state of mental clarity. The first anchor is the subtle warmth rising from your feet to the top of your head after completing the 4 touches. A. concrete indication that neural circulation has been restored and your memory networks are active. When you notice this sensation, know that your nervous system has confirmed reconnection with your internal knowledge archives. The anchoring gesture for this state consists of 3 deep breaths with focused attention at the base of the skull, the area where the cerebellum processes information and translates it into lasting mental clarity. Perform this ritual every time you complete the sequence, creating a neurological association between conscious breathing and easier access to memory. Your return point for moments of forgetfulness will be the code phrase "my body remembers," followed by a gentle touch on the back of the neck and 1 deep breath. A direct command that reactivates the neural circuit established by your daily practice and restores the natural flow of information between your body and conscious mind. You have just discovered that memory is not a lost file buried in the past, but a living presence pulsing through every nerve ending of your body. In just 60 seconds of precise touches, you accessed internal libraries that had always been there, waiting for the correct code to reveal themselves again. The somatic sequence has proven that forgetfulness is not an irreversible cognitive failure, but a temporary disconnection between body and higher mind. A disconnection that 1 daily minute of conscious attention can permanently repair. Each plantar pressure, each cervical movement, each lingual and auricular touch acted as a specific key, unlocking neural networks crystallized by time and neglect, and restoring your natural fluency in accessing your own reserves of knowledge. The neuroscientist Antonio Damasio once wrote that the body is not just the theater of emotions, but the stage where consciousness is revealed. When you treat your body as a sacred temple where each cell holds fragments of your personal story, you turn the simple act of living into a continuous practice of reconnecting with the wisdom that lives in your very flesh. There is no real separation between physical body and higher mind. There is only a varying degree of communication between these dimensions of the same integrated consciousness that you have always been, but had temporarily forgotten how to fully access. The deepest truth revealed through this sequence goes far beyond recalling names or specific dates. You have rediscovered that you possess a refined instrument of perception and knowledge, inscribed into the very architecture of your being, an instrument that responds instantly when offered, respectful attention and conscious touch. Full memory is not a luxury of youth, but a natural right of any consciousness that recognizes the body as a living altar where past, present, and future meet in an eternal moment of lucid remembrance. If this sequence awakens a sense of recognition in your body, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to receive more insights that turn mental fog into lasting clarity. I want to know how the 4 touches are helping you remember in practice. Write in the comments. I practice the somatic sequence and reclaim my memory. This affirmation seals your connection and confirms your commitment to the practice that brings lost words back. Share this video with someone you know who struggles with forgetfulness and feels embarrassed during important conversations. Don't let this discovery end here. Click on the screen and explore another transformative video from the channel. Each somatic technique you master expands your access to the internal archives of knowledge that define who you truly are. Remember, your memory never left. It was simply waiting for the touch that would bring it back to the surface of consciousness, where it has always belonged.